Hello and welcome. So AI is taking over our lives, and the newest thing that it is able to do is art generation. And I've tried several systems that do art, and to be honest, I really wasn't impressed with any of them until I got to one called MidJourney. MidJourney, in my opinion, is amazing. It's able to produce any kind of art you want in any style, and it does more or less a fantastic job. There's a few catches. Now, after playing with it, what I really began to wonder is, could I use it to illustrate a book I wrote? I wrote a children's book a while back, and it turns out that yes, you can absolutely do that. Now, there's a couple different strategies that you can use, and I'm going to talk about what those are, and pros and cons of each, and then ultimately what I ended up using. I'm not going to go into detail about how to use MidJourney. There's lots of tutorials online that do that. I think the documentation on the MidJourney site is also really good. So if you're brand new to MidJourney, I'd suggest that you start there and read through their documentation. That'll get you going. So let's talk about techniques. The technique that I ended up using was I would ask MidJourney for just certain pieces, and then I would assemble it all collage style, basically. So how you do that is, if I had a specific scene that was in my mind that I wanted to recreate, let's say I wanted a pond with an oak tree over it and a rope swing, and then I wanted a duck on the pond and a turtle over on the side. I couldn't put all of that into MidJourney and get it to spit out one image that was correct. It's too complicated. So what I would do is I would do the background first by itself. I'd describe the background, the pond, the tree, the rope swing, and after a few tries of that, I would definitely get something that I liked. And then next I could work on, let's say, the turtle. So then I could describe the turtle and I could say put it on a white background, and it'll spit out a bunch. And once I find one that I like, then I can go and I can cut the background out very easily because it's on a white background. And then I can go into, I use Photoshop because I'm familiar with it, but you can use whatever tool you want. Then you can go in, you can take your turtle and you can put it in your scene. And in that manner, you can build whatever scene you want, exactly the way you want it. It takes a little work, but it works. And that was how I did my book. Now there's another technique. If you don't care the layout so much, let's just say I wanted a duck on a pond, you can just put that in, you'll get exactly what you want. Just say wide angle, and you could get a whole scene that way. So if it's simple and you're not particular about your layout, that'll give you exactly what you want very quickly. You probably don't even need to edit it. Now, technique number 3 is kind of a combination of the both. So what you would do is you'd collage together the scene that you want, but you could do it very sloppily, if that's a word. But the point is, then you'd take that layout image and you would upload that to MidJourney, and then you could tell MidJourney to make it into another style. So you could make it look like, let's say, a Monet painting. Upload your photo, say as a Monet, it'll redo the whole thing. More or less, it's going to keep your layout and spit out some incredible artwork. So that is the last technique that you could try. And I played with all of those a little bit and then eventually settled on the first technique that I described because I wanted it in a particular way. All right, so the first tip that I'd like to share with you is a website called MidJourney Prompt Helper. And if you Google search that, you'll find it. But what it is it's a UI interface that helps you create prompts that are better and more specific and will ultimately get you what you want. So it's got a bunch of different features in it. So let's take a look at that and I'll show you how it works. So this is what the prompt helper looks like. And basically up top, here's our description. We type in whatever we want there. But the really nice thing is all of these buttons down below. These categories you can open up and you can scroll through and you can pick whatever you want here. So this is very helpful. And first off, you never know what all these things are without seeing them. So it's helpful just to go in here and poke around and see what things do. But the couple things that I found the most useful here are the size. You're going to be changing your aspect ratio all the time, depending on what it is you're trying to create. And quality is helpful. You can turn it up to more detailed. I got better results that way. And then finally down here at the bottom, this text box, this is for things that you don't want in your picture. And I use this a lot. MidJourney has a problem with hands right now. A lot of times they get jumbled up into garbage. So you can go in here and you can type hands. And now down here, here's your prompt, and it says no hands, and I can just copy it. So taking out things that you don't want is a technique that you'll have to do a lot. So this whole prompt helper I found very useful. I think you will too. Poke around in here and get an idea for what it can and can't do. Once you have an image that you like, then you need to upscale it. Upscaling it is going to make it bigger so you can actually use it in your book. So at the moment, there's 3 different kinds of upscaling in MidJourney. There's the normal, there's what they call low, and then there's one they call beta. I had terrible results with low and beta. Everything that it made was completely unusable for me. So the normal is the only thing that actually worked. So that's what I did basically all the time. But even on normal, it's going to change your picture a little bit when it upscales it. So you may have to do it several times in order to get one that looks like what you want, even from your initial image. You just keep at it till you get something that you like. So one thing I learned was that when doing backgrounds, you get a much better result and a higher pixel count if you change the aspect ratio. So whenever I did a background, I'd make sure to make it 3x2, which makes it into a landscape view. And I got much better results. So definitely play with that. If you're not doing backgrounds, if you're focusing on just like one object, then you're probably better off in portrait or a square mode. You get a better result that way. So definitely play with aspect ratios depending on what it is you're trying to get. Now, the very last thing that I'd like to talk about is whether or not you should buy the MidJourney service. And the honest answer is you don't have to. If you pay for the service, you get a few nice to haves. So when you sign up and create an account, they let you create 25 images. And there's 2 ways to create images. The first is fast, and that counts towards your 25 free ones. But you can also change it to what they call relaxed. And if you put it in relaxed mode and you type in what you want, it just takes a little bit longer for it to spit the image out. And you can do relaxed unlimited. So if you don't want to pay for the service, just put it in relaxed mode. You can create all the images you want. You don't have to pay for it. Now, the nice to have part of it is if you pay for the service, you get a whole bunch of fast, which I suppose is good. But the biggest thing is you can create your artwork in your own chat rooms. If you're using it for free, you're going to be in a chat room with a whole bunch of other people. So when you create a piece of art, it's going to show up at the bottom of the list. Everybody's going to be able to see it. And it's just going to keep spitting those out. So you're constantly scrolling to the bottom and looking for your own work. Your work is going to be highlighted, so it's kind of easy to find, but you're still going to be in that scrolling process. If you pay for the service, you can create your own chat rooms and you can create your own art. You don't have to do that. So you can keep everything organized, which is really nice. You can also create as many chat rooms as you want. So you can create a chat room for your book, or you can create a chat room for each page of your book, however you want to set it up. And then it keeps it all organized really nice. So I like that. I ended up buying the service. Their service plans right now are between $10 and $30 a month. I paid for the $30 a month just because I didn't know how much time I was going to use, and then I eventually discovered relax mode anyway, and I used mostly that anyway. But having the ability to put it in my own chat rooms was wonderful, and I was able to produce all of the artwork for my book within a month. So for $30, I did all my art. I think that's pretty outstanding. I'm happy to pay that. So you can decide what's best for you and go from there. So those are the techniques that worked the best for me. specifically for creating children's books. So I really hope that they helped you too. If you enjoyed this video or you learned anything, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. That would help me out greatly. Thank you very much.